Hey Flosstube friends, welcome back. It's Laura here from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And I want to welcome you if you are new to my channel, and if you are returning, welcome back. I want to thank everyone who has been incredibly supportive in the comments. This community is amazing. It is it's painless in terms of jumping in and sharing things about what you do, and all of our fun stitchy things that we like to get into and share with each other. The ideas that get sparked for me are incredible. I am constantly inspired. Things I want to share with you this week. I want to give you some updates on how Meda is coming along, my daughter's artwork that I'm turning into a cross stitch. I also want to share time in Sarnia. I was with friends this weekend and we went thrift shopping. Very, very fun experience. In fact, I am wearing something that we found that I just love. It is a jacket that someone has embroidered. We have a little clip that my friend took while we were there. Let me just show that to you, what happened. Oh my God, you guys, look what I found. I'm thrift shopping with my friends in Sarnia. And we found this together. Actually, my friend holding the camera found this. This is somebody's project where they have done some beautiful stitching. This is all embroidery. Look at this, and look at, I can't leave without this. Put on the food. Somebody worked so hard on this. Oh yeah, put my,
you look gorgeous.
I feel special.
You are.
We had a good time. Let me give you some updates. Let's start with Meda. And here's where I'm at right now with Meda. So she is coming along really nicely. I've got her gold in her moon on her staff. I've got some little beads, well, charms. They were called charms at Michael's for her little dangly stars off of her staff. I've managed to get some of the shading in the sort of skin tone areas, in the harder to see in the gloves and in the skirt. And working on a little bit of the gold. So I had put just a couple of tones of gold initially, thinking that would be enough for like the shading side of it, but I do like a little bit of the gold threaded in. I did that with the armor on the chest plate, and I did it with her like shoulder pad and her headband as well, and I'm liking how that's turning out. So I'm just adding it back into the part of her top of her leg wrap, so I guess is where we're headed next. So that's how she's doing, and I will continue to give you some updates as she progresses. I also was in Sarnia this weekend for work, but also to stay with friends, and a couple of my friends and I went to Value Village, which we have here in Canada, thrift shopping essentially. And we went in, and of course I couldn't help myself. I went to go see what was there in terms of needlework books or patterns or unfinished pieces or finished pieces, vintage finds, whatever I could find really. And we found many things. The first of which is this jacket that I'm wearing that has some really lovely embroidery on it. But my friend filmed that while it happened. So we had kind of dragged herself out of bed and off to the thrift store that morning. So if I look a little discombobulated, that's why. Let me show you what else I found. Found something to rescue. It is so, I don't know, there's something about this little guy here. He's like, what is that, a tabby cat maybe? He's perched on a little window ledge, and this stitch, this kit, I don't know what this is. I gotta figure out what this is. I think it's Bargello maybe, but I don't think I'll do the rest Bargello. I think I'm gonna change up the stitching. And I was thinking what would be awesome is if I took him and my other rescue finds of fabric and I made them into a project bag when it was all finished. And then I can use this for all of my cross stitching. What do you think of that? Okay, I didn't open it yet, so let's unbox it. So here is my really lovely little find. This is, I don't know what. I don't know if this is embroidery or maybe Bargello was my other thought on it. I'm finding the stitches are all running just from one side to the other within the border. It is, however, on the fabric. I don't know if you're gonna be able to, I'll try and pick this up on the camera here. I'll get it nice and close. But the fabric is like a snug weave, I would say, as opposed to just like a fabric that you might embroider onto. And so my thought is this might not just be straight embroidery. This might just actually be another type of stitch. There is an extra little piece on here. I'm not sure what the purpose. Maybe they just wanted to have some extra coloring in the background. But here's what I'm thinking. Tell me if I'm crazy. What I was thinking would be really cool with this is if I take what is here and incorporate in some cross stitch. I think it would complement some of these other pieces we have. I don't know if I'll use the whole piece. I do like that it's stamped on, so even though I don't have a chart, I can probably wing it. Seems to be my deal. And I was thinking I would really like to turn this into a project bag. And I've got a couple of fabrics that came, oh, get this. So let me grab the fabrics here. So the one fabric, I have a lot now. This is a piece, 3 yards of fabric for $8, but the colors are really awesome. It's got this wonderful chocolate brown with some of the colors that I found in that piece. And then there was this as well on the rack. I mean, how cool is this? That, oh, it's upside down, hang on. How cool is this that there was this really awesome fabric to go with it? And I thought how nice those would look together with that piece. So I thought I'm going to work that out one way or the other. The printed fabric is, oh gosh, I didn't even measure it. I think maybe it's about 1/4 of a yard. Looks like about 1/4 of a yard, possibly. So I have, I have enough of that, and I have a ton of this other one. So that's going to last. And I thought those colors would go really well with like the little, oh, I got her turned around there. With this little cat, which I just caught my eye, and I was like, oh, I gotta do something with that cat. I can't just leave it there. And so I don't know who began this. In terms of the designer, it says that it is Sunset Design. So let me bring that nice and close. And if you know more about this pattern maker, designer, stitch type, maybe it is just embroidery, or not just, right? Maybe it's embroidery, maybe it's Bargello. I don't really know. I've never done Bargello, but how cool is that, right? So very, very excited to turn that into a project bag. So the inspiration behind the project bags, I just want to mention a couple of fellow Flosstubers. I was watching Sarah's Stitchy Spot, love, love, love Sarah, and she was sharing a lovely project bag, and I'm not sure actually if it was gifted to her or if it was a work that one of her viewers was sharing, but it's got, I think, the maker of Dreaming Girl or Dreaming Girl on it, and some complimentary fabric, and I thought, oh, that's so nice looking. I'd love to be able to see that every time I was working on something. And so I thought, all right, I will start thinking about what kind of cross stitch needlework I can incorporate into some of my project bags. And then I came across Carrie's Tiger Lily Designs bags. So she does find vintage pieces. Sometimes they are just outright pieces of cross stitch. Sometimes they are cross stitch that was designed on perhaps like a table runner or that kind of thing. And she stitches them up into project bags. And I thought, that's inspiring. I would like doing something like that. So that's kind of where some of this came from. But here's what else happened. So again, I'm on this, like, I don't know, I've just been so inspired by all these different projects I've been seeing that I was in the library, and while I was in the library, picking up something else to read, I was thinking, oh, I wonder what we have here. And I'm just in a really tiny little library. I'm in, so Cambridge is kind of divided into 3 former communities that kind of got squished together as we tend to do these days. And so I'm in the part of Cambridge called Hespeler. So I went to the Hespeler Public Library that we have and went on a browse to see, you know, what kind of magazines do we have. We have lots of digital magazines, which I thought was really cool. We also have some books on the shelves. And as I was browsing along, I found this. So I found this Cross Stitcher's Bible by Jane Greenoff. And what I really liked about it was there's some really neat ideas in here. Some of them are showing you some of the patterns. Let me see if I can flip a few pages here, where they have some designs like maybe some flowers, which was really nice. So different kinds of motifs. They talk about the different kinds of fabrics as well, or Jane talks about the different kinds of fabrics, the differences between like Aida and even weave and linen. And so she's got some really neat little designs in here that even if you weren't 100% on the color, that's easy. That's an easy swap out, right? So cute little motifs like little seahorses in there. Isn't that nice? If you had, I had a beachy theme in my downstairs bathroom at one point. So she's got that in there. There's a little section on Christmassy stuff as well. So but also this is neat. This is something that sometimes you may find like little buttons and charms that you can add to your piece, which I thought, right, isn't that a neat idea? So of course I went down that route with Meda. And she's got another one here that's like these little birds in a wreath, and she's got a couple of buttons there like what is that? A little bee. A little butterfly button and a little birdhouse. On the other page, if you're doing something maybe for kids, we've got a little sheep there in the farm meadow. A couple of sheep, I guess. Well, maybe 2 or 3 sheep in there. So I thought, you know, what else do we have that is just a resource? Because not everybody can just go out and or at least purchase online. Some of the patterns, you know, supplies get a little bit pricey, and I think about my mom, for example, and ladies my mom's age and gentlemen my mom's age who want to stitch. And so, you know, I'm in my mid-50s now, so my mom's in her mid-70s, and so they tend to be on a fixed income. And so I was thinking, you know, how nice to have resources at your disposal that maybe you just didn't realize or hadn't thought of, and I thought, it's worth mentioning, right? But also, of course, I get inspired. I was really toying with these really lovely samplers. She's got one here that's like pansies, and she's got a few little trinkets stitched on some charms, I guess, which is where I found it. I found the little stars in the charm section in jewelry making, which, see, now I didn't think of that while I was in Valley Village. I should have gone over to the jewelry section and seen what they had, because maybe they had some charms there that would be really cool on a future project. She's also got, like, you can do a sampler and, like, you know, your initials and date and that kind of thing. That one's on a lighter background. So she kind of, you know, and she walks through how to do some stitches. So all through her book, she talks about different techniques, styles, themes, and then I got to this. So I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, so if it doesn't, I'll put it on, I'll just pop it up on the screen. But this is black work, and I've seen this a couple of times, and I was like, wouldn't that make a great project bag? It doesn't have to be all of the little critters, or maybe all of the little critters, I don't know just yet, but I thought I would like to do that so much. That's just like an outline, and then you fill it in with a repeating pattern of some kind, and you can do like a denser pattern if you're trying to make it like shading. And so you can kind of see that in, I think maybe the snail in the middle there is probably the one you can see that on the most. So you can see some of the snail shell is like darker than the other parts of it, and that's just because of the type of stitch. And so I think that's super cool. And I thought that would be really striking with like the black and white. And so she's got it broken down. So she's got on the next page a couple little projects. There's a little snail, a little hedgehog card. Look at that little hedgehog. Oh my God, that's so cute. I'm like, yep, 100%. I'm stitching this. And then of course she's got the pattern, so it's broken down to pages. So I just scanned that through the photocopier, printed that off. And what I like also about black work is it's usually in black thread, which I thought was super cool. So you don't have to go buying a lot of flosses either. So you can, get away with like a black or whatever your primary color is. So I've seen plenty of beautiful samplers out there that people are working on, and maybe they'll just do it all in red or all in blue or something like that, which you can do. The concept is still the same. What I liked about this one was how they had done it with black and gold. That's it. That's all they've got. They've got two. Well, sorry, I lied. There are a couple of their colors in terms of the grass underfoot is kind of what they've done. But how great is that? Two colors. And so apparently I had to, of course, once I start this, I got to go looking it up because I want to know more. But it talks about how this is a very old historic type of technique where you would find this actually on clothing back in like the 1700s, 1600s, 1500s and backward. And what they would do is they would outline or make these repeating patterns. And what they would do is when they stitch it, they'd make sure the front matched the back, right? Because it's clothing and you might be able to see the back of it in many cases. So of course, could you imagine being like a seamstress back in the day and stitching all that up, and like next thing you know, it's on the Queen's garments and so that kind of thing. I think there's some photos I found online. I'll see if I can scrounge those up again. And I think it was Queen Elizabeth, and there was a beautiful picture of her black work clothing. Anyways, another project, right? Another project. And I try really hard not to have many projects on the go, but yeah, it's really hard. I get it now. I get it. I didn't get it first. I'm like, oh, you have all these projects. Like, don't you feel like everything's unfinished? Don't you want to finish one and then move on to the next one? In my head, that's what I tell myself. And I thought, nope, I get it now. I get how you find something else and you're just so excited. You want to get started on it. You are excited to try something new, a new technique, a new idea, a new strategy, and see how that comes to fruition. So that's another thing. Another resource. So if you haven't checked out your local library, that's another great way to go, besides also the thrift stores. So some thrift stores, the Cambridge one had a bunch of unfinished patterns. Somebody must have cleared out their stash from like the 80s. So there definitely was that whole pink and blue theme. If anybody remembers that, you get me, right? So there's some of that, and it's not for everybody, but I was also thinking as we kind of reuse, recycle, repurpose, maybe like the pattern, and maybe there's just a thread swap out. Like one color's kind of like, it's a little, a little too frou for me. If it's a bit too frou, I go more towards like usually scenery, but I'm stretching my boundaries, so you never know. But these are just ideas that were inspiring to me, and maybe you'll find them inspiring to you. But I wanted to share that as here's what's been going on this week. If you can identify for me what the rescued piece is, whether that's embroidery or maybe Bargello, or if you happen to know, that would be great. Share that with me in the comments. If you have ideas about what you're thinking you'd like me to do with Meda, or at least just some suggestions, I'd welcome that too. So that's what's been going on this week. Behind the scenes, I am still continuing to complete my Girls with Bicycles. So that's coming very, very soon, getting that framed up. And I also have a piece that I had done, the Serene Village. I'm just, I think my mat is ready. I better go check, pick that up and put that all together. So I'll show you that finished piece probably in, I'm guessing maybe my next episode. I also have something of my mom's. And so I'm thinking either for my mom's birthday next month, April, or possibly Mother's Day, I would like to share some things about my mom and her work and things that have inspired me, and some of the things that she's done in the past and continues to do. And there's one piece that she just finished that I think the grandkids are already fighting over. I think it looks awesome, and it's going to look even better in the frame. So I'll share that with you, that finished piece, and share a little bit more about the type of needlework that my mom likes to do right now is called bunka. If you're not familiar with it, I wasn't when she first said it. If you know punch needle, where the loops come up, it's the opposite. The loops go down. So it'll make more sense when I shut up. Anyways, that's future upcoming videos. Of course, I will continue to give you updates on Meda, how she's doing, where we're at with it, and whatever else comes up. I really like the idea of mixed media, right? So you see that more in like the painting world, decoupage kind of thing, where you take things together and put them together. It's kind of cool to do that in the fabric world and in the woven textiles world and, you know, that kind of thing. So I do like the idea of like, I don't know, maybe that finished piece, I know for sure, I do want to do some cross stitching on it to fill in some of those pieces. So already there is, I don't know, embroidery / bargello, maybe some cross stitch, maybe some beading. I still haven't quite gotten into that yet, but I did find, okay, so I found some threads, of course. I was back picking up more thread. I think I was out of black, right? Everybody ran out of black? I ran out of black. I should probably buy it in bulk. So I picked up some new brights, which I think will be stunning with Meda. Hang on, let me show you these. Let's see if I can get this blocked here. These are the purples, and they are sparkly. They're kind of like a metallic thread. So they're called DMC Brights. You probably already know this, but they're new to me. And I was thinking how awesome that would look. Let me grab Meda again here. I was thinking how awesome that would look as part of that idea, like the swirls and some of that beautiful stuff I can do in the background, mixed up with some beads. Who knows, right? But I saw these, and I thought, you know, the beads. I found some beads. So I also found, let me see if I can turn these so you can see the colors really nicely. So these are a couple of the purple. There's a lighter, there are 2 shades of purple, and I was thinking those would be great to go along with these threads in the background. You know what? Let's put that against white. That would make a lot more sense so you can see this. Hang on here. Okay. All right. So let's see. With the white background, let's see if you can see these. But these are the purple beads. There's a lighter and there's a darker, and then my little brights threads. And I thought, how great would those go on Meda's piece? So I picked those up, and those were for me just in Michael's. Here in Canada, that's one of our craft stores, but you can probably find that if you're in the States, like Hobby Lobby or wherever you get your supplies. So I haven't done beading before. If anybody can recommend a couple of good videos, I just haven't searched for it yet, but if you've seen some great videos on beading and how that's done, and if there's anything I need to know, I know it's going to make my project will be thicker. Like, I didn't leave spaces for any beads because this is a hindsight, and I'm just kind of, you know, figuring it out as I go. So that's okay. I know that I'll probably have to consider that when I do the framing, is just allow with like a little bit of spacer in there or something like that. But at any rate, anyways, that's what I found, and I am excited to incorporate into that piece that I'm doing with my daughter's artwork. Yeah, so did I talk about everything that I wanted to share with you? I think I did. How Meda is coming along, how things went in Sarnia on our thrifting expedition, what I'm going to be doing in terms of project bags, so figuring out the finished piece that I picked up, and then also, of course, the black work. So I do want to do the black work with the gold. I think that's going to be a really neat one as well. And yeah, and then just generally speaking, getting out to the library or to the thrift stores to find stuff or rescue things as well. Yeah, so I think that's everything that I wanted to share with you guys this week, and I hope that you had a really great week. I hope that life is treating you well, and that you are finding some wonderful Flosstube friends of your own, either in real life or through the Flosstube network here on YouTube.